Again for another video here in the Philippines in Davao del Sur, and today we're going to talk about transportation in the Philippines. And what I am doing, I just bought a new bike and I'm going to go over that with you, all the details, transportation options here in the Philippines, and what it's like actually purchasing a vehicle. So let's get right into it.
Stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light?
So the Philippines is the land of roosters. Give it a second. There. Okay, you can't go anywhere without having a rooster crowing at some point during your videos or just your conversations. It's just a fact of life. Even in the cities, you're going to hear roosters. The only place I've ever been like it in the world, other than like my family's farms back in the United States, is in Albania. And I was in a place called Sorondo one time and started hearing them. I was like, I feel like I'm back in the Philippines. But anyway, okay, so the transportation issues. In the Philippines, in provincial towns, usually the local transportation, as far as public transportation, are what are called tricycles. In the province I'm in right now, they're referred to as pedicabs, but it's basically a motorcycle where they put a car around it. Usually fits at least one person next to the motorcycle driver in the front, and then sometimes in the back you can have enough room for 2, 3, depending on the size of people that can fit in there. You'll see them just packed full. Me, I get in one and in the back, and there's pretty much not room for anybody else because, you know, I'm American sized jumbo, I guess. So it's very affordable to get around in the province towns like that. Generally it costs about 15 pesos to go one way, unless you're going a very, very long distance. When I was here 5 years ago, it was 10 pesos. Gas has gone up, so obviously that's increased a little bit. And you pay per person. So if you've got 3 people joining you in the pedicab, and it doesn't have to be people you know, it can be people that just jump into the pedicab with you, then they're all going to pay their own peso share. So, you know, 15 pesos for them. So the more people that the driver can pick up along the route that they're going, or the destination you're going, the more money they can make for that route. So it's pretty good transportation for locally. Obviously you're not going to go real long distances on that, but there are public transportation options for that. So going between small towns in the provinces, you know, that would be say 20, 30 kilometers, or not even that far. Yeah, 20 kilometers apart. They have Jeepneys that will run, which are these converted vehicles. They were made from the Jeeps that were left over after World War II. They extended them where there's lots of passenger seats in the back, and those run back between the small towns in the provinces where people can go. When they get to the next town, then they can take a tricycle or a pedicab onto wherever they're going to go in that town. So next, we'll get into more long distance transportations and the costs on that. So for longer transportations, for instance, between the place I was staying in Digos City, which is about an hour outside of Davao, hour and 20 minutes outside Davao, which is the major city in the southern Philippines on Mindanao. There you would take these big buses, and they're as big or bigger than Greyhound buses in the United States. The buses that you see, if you're from Europe, you're familiar with those big, large passenger buses, and those will run to the next town. And the main route that we have here, the Mindanao Star, is the one that I have ridden in the past. And it goes from Davao through Digos and then on to General Santos City, which is even farther out. I think it's about another 2 hours. The bus tickets on those are very reasonable. I know they're under 200 pesos. I'm wanting to say $2 or $3 basically to go each way on there. So very affordable on there compared to what you would pay for public transportation like that in the West, in the United States, in Western Europe. So it is a viable option. So for longer transportation than that, you can obviously get airplanes. The flights in between the different islands and the major cities in the Philippines, they're actually very reasonable. You can fly on Cebu Pacific, which is their budget airline here, and you can generally almost always find flights if you're a week or two out for around $50 one way, and if you go far enough out, or if you time it during one of their promos, you can give them even cheaper than that. I mean, we're talking Thailand prices of like $30 a ticket. I've seen some if it go out 2 months, and I'm planning a trip to like go up to Manila, that I can get them for like $22 one way. So very reasonable intercity flights here, especially again compared to the West. They also have a system of ferries that go between islands, and those are real beneficial if you, like me, want to go around on your motorbike and you want to go from island to island and bring that motorbike with you, so you don't have to rent one or find transportation in the destination that you're going to be going to. And later on, when I start doing more traveling outside of Mindanao, I'll take you on some of those ferry rides. But for now, that is the basic major transportation systems, at least that I have used and that I can think of in the Philippines. So at this point now, let's change subjects a little bit, still talking about it, and get into my bike. So I decided to buy a motorcycle here. Actually, I got a scooter. I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. But my reasoning behind that was I really didn't want to get a car because I will be in and out of the Philippines, and I just, living in the province area where I live, I really just don't need one. I mean, maybe if I want to go on a shopping spree to Davao and bring stuff back once a month, I just wouldn't use a car at this point enough to justify it. And realistically, if you're going to be in and out of the Philippines, I don't want to leave a car to sit around that is not going to be driven. Whereas a motorbike, I'm not as worried about. I can always get one of my family members who lives here to use it. I'm sure they would be more than happy to do that. So that's what I decided to do. And I decided not to get a used one, but to get a new one. I have lots of family members that are mechanics, and they're like, you just really don't know what you're getting here in the Philippines when you're buying used, and you could be buying a money pit. So I did buy a new one. Again, I'll show you the bike here in a second. But the reason that I need transportation, my own transportation, here in the province area, is because although I can get a tricycle and go somewhere, like I can have them take me out to the beach in Digos, or I can have them take me out to a park somewhere that's outside of the city. That's all well and good, because all I have to do is get down to the city. I can easily find a tricycle or a pedicab to take me out there. The problem is, if I go out to some remote location like a waterfall or something and I have somebody drop me off, I might not find anybody for hours to take me back, public transportation wise, or I might do a lot of walking. Also, at night, early in the morning, sometimes you just can't find a tricycle or not one that's ready available. So it's just easier and more freedom to have my own bike. And again, what I do when I'm not, focusing on my businesses, is I am actually going out and exploring and seeing waterfalls and seeing beaches and stuff. And I just need a way to do that. So without further ado, I'll show you the bike, and then I'll talk about the details of what it takes to do this here in the Philippines.
Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find, I'm standing right here. I know that I told you we're over. I swear that I'm sober. Just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me. Just stay till the morning light.
All right, guys, so this is the bike that I decided to get, which is the Yamaha NMAX. It's a 155cc scooter. The sun's kind of directly overhead. Hopefully this turns out okay. So it's 155cc, so it was big enough that I can go city to city. I really like the black with the gold wheels on it and the trim. And it's got a lot of space it'll actually fit, a full-size helmet will fit in this cargo bay here, or my backpack. So my backpack for my camera equipment and stuff, I can throw in here, good to go. It's a big wide seat, so it's really comfortable for longer trips. It's not a big bike or anything that you're going to go, 6-7 hours a day on, but for scooting around 2, 3, 4 hours from town to town, it's doable. But it's small enough that I can still do, just around town. It's got in here it's got a charger. I don't know if you can see that with the sun, but there's a charger in here for your phone, so you can recharge your phone while you're driving. Here you can put your wallet, and it's got a 5.5 liter tank, and turn it on. You can see it's not been drove much. It's brand new. It's only got, let's see, 35 kilometers, 35.9 kilometers on it now. So that's kind of the bike. And hopefully it'll work. It's got the stands on the side for somebody riding on the back. All right, guys, so that was the bike. To get a bike here in the Philippines, when you go and you buy it, they'll give you your registration, your temporary registration, your sales contract, basically, and you have 24 hours to get that bike home. After that, it's no longer good, and you have to get registration, which can take up 15 to 25 business days. That doesn't include weekends, that doesn't include holidays, for that registration to come back from the LTO, the Land Transportation Office. So I was assuming I could get some temporary tags, but they had passed a city ordinance, or maybe it was a provincial ordinance, anyway, where the temporary tags are no longer any good, and you have to wait till you actually have a registration so that you can get a plate made before you receive your official one, before you can actually start using your bike. And if you do use it and you get caught by the police, I was told that it would be a 10,000 peso fine for not having that registration yet, even though it can be shown that it's pending and processing with the LTO. So 10,000 pesos in US dollars is gonna be what, 200 bucks, 200 US dollars simply for not having that. So when I had first got the bike, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go buy this bike. They had told me it was gonna take a while to get the registration, but I wasn't thinking, so my mistake here in the Philippines, that I wouldn't be able to just get a temporary tag, go out, go to see the nature, the waterfalls, the things, the reason that I was getting the bike to begin with. So it's cut down on my travel plans for the first month once I decided to do it. So I was stuck, couldn't drive the bike without breaking the law, and I just don't go to foreign countries and break their laws. So finally got the registration in. I've got a plate now, and so now I'm gonna be mobile. Was very lucky. I hadn't rode a bike in a long time, so my nephew kind of worked with me to remember how to do it. I never rode an automatic. All I ever rode was motorcycles where we had the clutches and you have the brakes on the pedals. So I wasn't used to the automatic systems that you have in an automatic scooter. So anyway, guys, that's my video for today. I hope you found this informative. A lot of you are asking about this in the comments about transportation and what to do. That's my experience. It's anecdotal, but it is what it is. So if you enjoy this video, subscribe, like it. It really helps the algorithm, help other people find it who are interested in this topic. If you want to know more about transportation or other topics, let me know down in the comments below. Always happy to hear from you guys. You gave me great ideas for videos. You'll give me a great idea for this video. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. And if you wait until the end card, I'll show you a really neat video that I did that you might want to check out. Thanks.
Just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me.